Welcome, I am Breakup Brad, and in this video I'll be answering one of the most common questions that I'm asked by my coaching clients and my subscribers here on YouTube. Have I blown my shot at getting back together with my ex? Now maybe you recently found my channel or signed up for my X Factor program and you've realized that you've already made mistakes with your ex. Done things you probably shouldn't have done that probably hurt your chances of getting them back. Or, maybe you don't know, but you're worried that you might have done or said something since the breakup that caused your ex to grow cold and lose interest. Well, in this video, I'll help you figure out whether you have ruined your shot for good, and I'll explain what to do next if there is still hope to maximize your chances of getting them back. All right, let's start off on a positive note. You're not alone. Tons of people tell me on a daily basis that they wish they'd come across my videos in my X Factor program sooner. Sometimes, people are worried that something they said to their ex in the heat of the moment was the nail in the coffin. Other times, people will watch some of my videos or sign up for my program a few weeks or months after their breakup, only to realize that everything they've done up to that point is the exact opposite of what I recommend. Well, the point is that this is very, very common. The details of each situation vary a bit. Maybe you said something you regret. Maybe you've begged and pleaded your ex incessantly, sent them angry or cruel messages, or tried to get revenge. Whatever it was, there's no sense in beating yourself up over the past. We all make mistakes, and that's water under the bridge now. In many cases, in fact, in the majority of situations, there's still a pretty good chance that you can save things and can still have a shot at getting your ex back. Headline. One of the best ways to figure out your chances is just to take my free 5-minute quiz at breakupbrad.com/quiz. So go there after the video or click the link in the description and answer a few questions, and you'll be sent a detailed score and results report outlining your chances and what to do next. Again, you can take that quiz after the video at breakupbrad.com/quiz. Now, let's talk about another important factor. The first thing you need to understand is that time is a big factor in this. So if it's only been a few weeks or less since your breakup and you only made a few mistakes during that time, then your chances are going to be a lot better than if it's been 9 months and you've made countless mistakes throughout that period of time. Now, that's not to say that you can't still turn things around if it's been a long time since your initial breakup, but it definitely makes things more difficult. As a general rule, the longer it's been since your breakup and the longer you've been making mistakes or exhibiting unattractive behaviors, then the more dire your situation is right now. But that being said, time can also be helpful. So for instance, if it's been a few weeks or you've gone through a period of no contact since you last did something that pushed your ex away, if you said something hurtful and mean to your ex the day after breaking up and you haven't spoken to them for, 2 weeks since then, well, then that 2-week period will help your ex let go of their initial emotions and just sort of start to let it go. But on the other hand, if you've been begging and pleading your ex for weeks every day since breaking up, it is going to take a while and a period of no contact before they're likely going to forgive and forget. Take a second to think about things from your ex's perspective. How does he or she think of you right now? Do they see you as a, desperate, lonely, creepy ex? Or does your ex see you as a friend? Or if things really haven't gone well since the breakup, does your ex hate your guts right now? That's unlikely, obviously, but it really helps to try and imagine your ex's perception of you right now. Think about how you'd feel or what you'd think of your ex if the tables were turned. So let me give you a quick example. Let's say your breakup was clean and didn't involve any huge arguments, cheating, or heartbreak. Maybe it was even a mutual thing where you both agreed that things weren't working out and that breaking up and moving on was the right thing to do. And then a week later, perhaps you sent your ex a love letter spilling out your guts and begging him or her to take you back, which of course is absolutely not a good idea. Now that type of mistake, especially if the breakup itself wasn't messy and didn't involve any excess drama, probably isn't going to make your ex suddenly start seeing you as a, creepy loser who must be avoided at all costs. So in a case like that, there's still a very good chance of getting back on the right track, I should say, and reversing your breakup. But on the other hand, if you've cheated on your ex with their best friend, if you've spread lies about your ex through Facebook and sworn never to speak to him or her again, well, then things are obviously looking less rosy for your chances of getting them back. Don't get me wrong, I do see people absolutely overcome situations even that bad from time to time. But if you did something truly awful to your ex, or you've pestered them to the point where they're calling the police on you, well, odds are slim, and you probably do need to come to terms with that and think about moving on. That's especially true if you've taken my free quiz and you get a very low score. Now, most of you watching this video probably fall somewhere in between. Maybe you've made more mistakes than the first scenario I just described, but you haven't been a complete asshole or shattered your ex's heart into a million pieces. In that type of situation, obviously the specific details of your breakup and the mistakes that you've made will determine your chances of success. But generally speaking, it's safe to say that you probably still have a chance of getting back together if you stop making mistakes and you start using the techniques and strategies that I teach in my X Factor program. If you really want a second chance with your ex, if you know that they're the one for you and you desperately regret losing them, you absolutely can't afford to make any more mistakes from this point onwards. One of the most common mistakes people make after a breakup is to beg and plead with their ex. Asking for another chance, promising you'll change if your ex will give the relationship another shot, apologizing over and over again, that kind of thing. Now, those are obviously not the kind of things that will help your cause. In fact, begging and pleading with your ex is a surefire way to make things worse rather than better, as I'm sure you know by now. But, they're usually something that you can overcome if you play your cards correctly from this point forward. Sometimes, you may have killed your ex's attraction to the point where they've genuinely gotten over you. But in many cases, you can turn things around, especially if you only begged and pleaded for a brief period of time and you didn't continue to pester your ex repeatedly for weeks. Now, I've developed something that I call the clean slate email template to specifically address this kind of common situation. It's essentially a message that you can send to your ex to erase the negative image that they have in the back of their mind and start replacing that mental image with something more positive. Now, does this always work like that and instantly fix your problems? Definitely not. But it is better than any alternative, at least based on my 13 years as a breakup coach. Now, if you want to see the full clean slate message template, please watch the video on my website, breakupbrad.com, and sign up for a 60-day risk-free trial of my X Factor program. In the program, I explain exactly when and how to use the clean slate message and how to word it and send it correctly to ensure that it works as intended. Basically, the message usually involves sending your ex a text or an email that acknowledges past mistakes while subtly showing your ex why that wasn't the real you who was begging and pleading. Again, go to breakupbrad.com to sign up for the X Factor program risk-free and learn more about safely using a clean slate message. But, and this is a hugely important reason why I'm not going to go into more detail about the clean slate message here, most people watching this right now will not need to or want to send their ex the clean slate message. It's intended for really bad situations, and it won't work at all for a lot of people, even if you did do a bit of begging and pleading in the early days after breaking up. All right, now that you hopefully have a bit of a better sense of whether you've completely ruined your chances or not, there's one thing you need to do from this point onwards, regardless of how bad you think your situation is right now. And that is, you need to avoid doing anything else that would make matters worse, obviously. But you also need to stop beating yourself up over the past and not replay all of your mistakes over and over again in your head. It's pointless. No matter how badly you fucked up with your ex, you can't go back in time and change things. You can only try to shift how your ex feels about you from now on. So focus on the road ahead and how you can turn things around rather than fixating on something dumb that you did last week or last month. So now is the time to take my free quiz and calculate your chances by going to breakupbrad.com/quiz. I mentioned it earlier already, but along with watching this video, taking the quiz should help you get a clear idea of where you stand with your ex and whether you've still got a shot at winning them back. Thanks so much for watching. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you found this video helpful. And as always, I will talk to you guys in the comments below. Best of luck out there, and I will see you in the next video.